Hey guys, what's going on? Good morning. So we have a bit of movement across the pairs, and there was a bit of gapping, which is what was expected because of elections. So something to just learn as well: when there is elections, you do want to stay out of the market because of this gapping. But great thing is we were able to develop structure. If you were trading Euro USD, then you would have been able to utilize the DXY to cross correlate them and actually take an entry, which potentially could play out. We need to wait and see. So if I just go down and actually, let me just zoom out. So you can see we are in an impulsive move to the downside currently. Now, yes, there is room for pullbacks, but we don't necessarily have to have a large one just yet. So what we're seeing over here is we've broken this low, and then we're looking for continuation. Within here, we can see that there's the potential for, even if we were to, for a minute, just fill that bit of price, and I'll just take a few candles just to fill it in over here. What we can see is that we actually do have this continuation pattern here, which is really nice. Then if you refine it where it really makes more sense, that was basically my point of sale that I was looking at, but more so this area. We near missed it twice, and then we kind of gave it that scoop, came down, created a second bottom, and then scooped back up and came up here. Whilst that happened, I was able to utilize Euro USD. Now I looked at Euro USD first, and when you look at it without all of this on, it does look a bit messy, but when you do draw it on and look at the price that we're looking at and correlating it with the DXY, and I'll invert that for a second, you can see essentially this is quite clean. You have your little point over here as well, and you can see that we had that 1, 2, 3, disregarding pretty much this bit of price action that dropped off the gap, and then coming back up to fill it, and then just starting back from where we kind of started, which was there, and then basically had that middle section, came in, was able to refine this on the 5, which was really nice, and get an entry just around about here with a pending order. So what happened was price dropped out. I understood this structure. I knew that if we could respond from this area and we pull back up, this would be great. So I was able to set a pending order in this area here, and then price pulled up. I was almost a little bit worried that I was going to get taken out at that point. Didn't really mind. It is what it is, but fortunately it did kind of pull back up, and now we're going. And then if you go back to the DXY, we can see that we are in the move to the downside now. So this is essentially what I am looking at. Obviously we have that low to be aware of, because what could potentially happen, now I don't think it's very highly probable, but what could potentially happen is we tap into that low, create a base, come back up, test these areas, and then continue to the downside. Like I said, it's not really the one I'm really convinced in. I think we're in a run of momentum here where we could just impulse to these areas down here, not in one candle, but we could get there with a few more structures and some scalings as well, which is interesting. Keeping risk quite low at the moment as well, just to kind of build that capital up, but at the moment it's looking pretty good. I'm running around about 2%, just under, on Euro USD, so that's pretty nice. Looking at other pairs, I did actually pull UJ up for a minute because my alert went off when we tapped into that low, and then I was just interested, just observing it. There wasn't really any clean entries, I'll be very honest with you. Was looking at what was it? I accidentally clicked on 8 hour, and this was quite interesting where actually I'll go into that in a different video, but yeah, we'll basically look at it over here. So we've got the 5 minute, and just basically waiting for a continuation pattern to form, probably a bit more weighted time frame at this point. 15 would be fine, where we basically just kind of come in, do this for a bit, for maybe even today, and then going into New York session, perhaps maybe we even get the trade like that. And that's pretty much what I would be more preferred for when it comes to taking a trade right now, only because we've had the push away and we want to see that continuation, and I think that would be pretty nice for a continuation to the upside. But knowing this particular type of pair and the market conditions we're in, we may just keep getting trickling momentum and keep going to the upside, not get anything very clear, large and deliberate. We may just continue moving with a very choppy lower time frame continuation. So it's just one I'm going to be observing and looking at, but if that does shape up, I'll look at it. I've also got Aussie US dollar, so still the same, even though we're pulling back from here. I'm not too bothered, because sometimes I look at the DXY and Euro USD just pulling away and moving, and then they start to consolidate a little bit, and then these pairs start to move to the downside whilst those are consolidating. So I've still got the same bias on here at the moment. Until we break those highs, then I'll look at something else. But for now, I am still looking at this coming to the downside, tapping into these lows to potentially look for a long, like vice versa with New Zealand US dollar. Obviously, it doesn't have to, because very obvious reasons. Once we break the high, we're in the clear, and we just look for more continuation to the upside. New Zealand CAD, I'm still waiting for this one to come back down, create a base. Ideally, maybe even tap into this low and then get a risk entry in there. But I'll really wait and see how we get there, because if we just drop off one candle, then obviously I'm not going to risk entry that straight away. I'm going to wait for it to pull back, give me a lower time frame confirmation to move higher. But ideally, even if we got a 3 touch and the 2 touch didn't come and we near missed this low and we came back eventually, that's where I'm looking at it. So I'm going to just set the alert on that one and leave it alone, and then just a quick scan over the rest of them. GU, so this was my larger forecast. If we did get something and it was larger and GU was just lagging, then this would have been it. But really and truly, when I did refine this, I was like, okay, hang on a second. Same situation with EU, is we basically just had that as an expanding to continue to the upside right now. So really and truly not too bothered. It is what it is. USD Swiss, so USD Swiss, I actually think it's a real big gem for me. I'm quite interested to see how this develops. I don't really have any bias towards this at the moment, but if we do come back up here and then come down again and then eventually come up here for the short, I'll be interested in that. But most likely it may even be a tomorrow trade, because I'm not looking to take any trades quite late New York, neither into swap / Asian session. So I really have to wait and see how that develops, but I keep my eye on it. Maybe something else will develop on it. It could even develop into a 2 touch, which I think would be the more probable scenario right now. So if we did come in, just about near miss it, come back up, and then did something like that for New York session, I wouldn't be put off by something like that. GC, very similar to NC, just looking for that base. Aussie CAD, once again, I would like to see another 3rd bottom just to really confirm that low. Aussie CAD is my hedge play, so I'm not looking for the long, I'm going to be looking for the short. I'd like to see that just kind of drop off and give me an entry below. New Zealand Yen, nothing there. Yeah, it's still just a bit choppy, to be honest. It's within that squeeze. I really want to see the push out. I've got WTI alert pinging right now, so we'll check that in a second. We've got Euro Aussie, GBP Aussie. GA kind of had a potential here, because I was looking at this in the morning, and then there was that, and then I was able to take an entry in there, but it wasn't the one. So the entry that I took was literally, just check 15, yep, there it is. It was just a little bit late, but it was there, and I took it like that. Now that's a difficult trade to really decipher, and I think it was more so this candle here and like that. And like I said, it was a very difficult candle to just decipher and just be like, yep. I kind of cut through these wicks as well, and yeah, I took it like that. And I think I walked away with like 0.5% or something. I'm not too sure. I think I took a larger stop on this for sure. I think it was roughly around about 18. Spreads were quite large on this, I'll be honest with you. So I was just, yeah, when it was around about here, I kind of just got out of the market. And then I saw it drop off here, and then eventually it did come back up. But overall, that is just, for me, it's not the best trade in the world. It's not the cleanest. It's GA. I think even after I took that trade, I was like, I didn't even know why I took GA. I was like, oh, gosh, typical GA, right? And then literally had this formulating for the potential for the short, but not interested. Want to see if that develops in something larger. US 30, you could potentially get the long in here now, but I think that's just quite messy right now. I don't want to touch that. Gold looks like it's declining, but I think with the DXY and the way it's moving, I think this is probably going to shoot higher. So I'm not gonna say, I'll say if you took a short here, just be very, very careful. Probably by the time you watch this video, it'll probably be up here somewhere, but it's just one of those ones. WTI, so here we go. So I know I was looking at the potential for the short, but I also think there's a strong potential for the long now because we've near missed and gapped it. So we're in a very key area right now for longs. A risk entry here would be quite risky in my opinion, even though we have a bit of this squeeze. The best thing is, if you don't take the risk entry but the risk entry is still okay, is you wait for that push up, you get whatever continuations, and then you get into the long, and I think that's your more lower end risk side of things. But more than likely, I think this to go long is high probable right now. So looking at sequence and how it's moving, I think this is awesome. So I'm going to be keeping a very good eye on this because this could really shape up to be a gem. And yeah, that's basically it for this morning. I thought I'd just roll out that quick one because there was a few gaps in the market and bit data changed. So this happens quite a lot actually when you're forecasting something and you have to just shift your bias. You have to remain neutral a lot of the time as well. So it's just a massive 1% tweak as well there to take. Is always remain neutral and look at both sides of things, not only your bias towards longs and shorts. Always keep the variation of, if price was to turn around, how would it look, where would it go, and what would it do? And those are some very good questions to just kind of run through your mind every now and again, so that you know where you're going to be getting out the market if price does turn around on you, and you know where you're going to reposition yourself and not get panicked.